Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hooty Hoo KSU Football Podcast. My name is Griffin Nichols, I'm your host. Hope everybody's doing well this week. Get a little cold out there as we get into the winter, but I wanted to come on, do a quick podcast, kind of look forward to next week's game in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Kickoff is scheduled right now for 11 a.m. on next Friday. Now, that Friday has a lot of good games, so that's really what starts the day, and the day's concluded by, I believe, 2 of the first-round playoff games. So it's a good day to get the holiday started with some college football. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Excuse me. Start talking about what we're going up against here with Western Michigan. I'm sorry, guys. So it's funny. Bowls started yesterday, so today is Sunday. Bowls started yesterday, concluded last night with Boise State getting blown out by Washington. So we're definitely in bowl season, so it's nice to have bowl season. And pretty much starting on Tuesday of this upcoming week, you'll pretty much have a bowl game every night going into the weekend. So we're definitely there, but something that I really like about this game is that we've talked about how much the sport's changed over the years, and this is a good example, is that bowl games aren't what they used to be, meaning that you have so many people opting out or going into the portal preparing for the pro tryout. I had read a rumor that the quarterback for Oklahoma is going to skip the bowl game and get ready for the NFL draft. It's in the playoffs. I can't confirm that. I just read that the other day. I don't know if that's true or not. But you do have to kind of verify these things based on what happened with Tennessee's quarterback last year, who ended up transferring to UCLA in the offseason. The rumor is, and I wasn't there, but the rumor is that he sort of tried to hold Tennessee hostage a little bit by saying that he wasn't going to play in the game against Ohio State if he did not receive so much more money. And that didn't go over very well with that coaching staff, and it ended up he decided to go to UCLA and have a pretty miserable season. So there you go. Here's why I bring that up. This game between Kennesaw State and Western Michigan, we don't have to worry about that. These guys are all bought in on both teams. Both these teams are conference champions. You have Western Michigan coming out of the MAC. You have Kennesaw State coming out of Conference USA. This is their playoff. This is their Super Bowl. So you're going to get complete effort, a complete team experience going into each other. So this is a good matchup as far as not having to worry about players opting out or meaningless bowl games or any of that stuff. This is a meaningful bowl game for both of these teams. And kind of appreciate that. It's been a while. It'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with bowl games going forward. I think that the end is near with bowl games and what they mean. So much so that I've seen people throw about the idea of having the first game of the season be bowl games instead of doing it at the end of the year. Also, developing contracts to where you must commit to playing the bowl game, or you must commit to the season if you're going to play for a team, and that's related back to the money that you're receiving when you sign for these different programs. So we'll see what happens, but let's talk about this game, and we'll stay away from the bigger picture stuff right now. We have all offseason to talk about that stuff. So, game again, 11 o'clock Eastern Time, the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Currently, Western Michigan is a 4-point favorite. Kennesaw State goes into this game as an underdog. A couple things to know about Western Michigan is the two teams are very similar as far as how their season started, how their season's concluded. I've already said that they are both champions of their conferences, the MAC Conference and Conference USA. Western Michigan is funny because if you kind of go through their schedule, it's very similar to Kennesaw State. They lost against the more established Division I teams. And then as the season went on, they lost another game to a conference opponent, but then rematched that conference opponent in the championship game and ended up avenging that loss in the conference championship game. So if I look back at Western Michigan's schedule, they lost to Michigan State to start the season off 23-6. They lost to North Texas 33-30. They lost to University of Illinois 38-0. That's their losses. Now we start getting into the conference schedule. And they start off with a win against Toledo and win 14-13. They beat Rhode Island 47-14. They play UMass, who is terrible, and beat them 21-3. They play Ball State, another not great team. They beat them 42-0. They play against Miami of Ohio, and they end up losing 26-17. They go on to beat Central Michigan 24-21. Just Ohio University 17-13. Northern Illinois, they win 35-19. And Eastern Michigan 31-21. They go into the conference championship against Miami of Ohio, who they recently had lost to, and beat them 23-13. So Western Michigan's, I went back and kind of did the math on this just to kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about. So Western Michigan's combined opponents win-loss record is going to be 51-59. So 51 wins, 59 losses. That's the combined totals for all the teams. If you put it together, what their win-loss is of the combined totals for all the opponents that Western Michigan's played this year. Comparison. If we look at Kennesaw State's combined win-loss against their opponents is 63-59. So Kennesaw State's kind of hovering around that 500 area. Western Michigan's a little bit lower. All that represents is some of the teams on Western Michigan's schedule had losing records and were not very good teams. Again, Ball State was not good. UMass was really bad. Northern Illinois was really bad this year. So there's not a lot to take away from that. Just to say that they've had an easier run up to the conference championship, and maybe the MAC conference is kind of down this year versus Conference USA. We'll see in some neutral matchups during bowl season kind of how Conference USA fares against non-conference opponents, but not a gauntlet by any means for Western Michigan. So in looking at these teams specifically, you have, really the yin and the yang of college football here as far as styles go. I told you before last week that Western Michigan is a power running team, and I'll go into the statistics in just a second, but they like to run the ball. That's what they do. And you don't have to worry about getting beat through the air as you would with some opponents. You must control the running game and take advantage of your opportunities on offense. So Western Michigan, in a nutshell, is a run-oriented team with a very good defense. Their goal is to limit your possessions, and when you do possess the ball, to not allow you to score. It's really that simple, old school, eat up the clock, that kind of stuff. So keeping that in mind, time of possession, Kennesaw State, because of how fast that offense goes, is ranked 111th out of 136 Division I teams. Kennesaw State is 111th with time of possession, means that they don't hold the ball very long, they score, and they score quickly. The polar opposite is your Western Michigan Broncos, who are ranked 14th in the country, averaging over 35 minutes on average with time of possession. So they like to run the ball, they like to eat up the clock, and limit how many times you get the ball. Almost going back to kind of an option style, to where as an opposing team, you may get 4 possessions in the half, maybe. So you've got to take advantage of your possessions. The problem is that their defense is good. So even when you have a possession, their defense has a tendency to shut those possessions down. Then you give the ball right back to the offense. They hold on to the ball the whole time, slowly wearing down your defense. By the end, you can't stop them, and the time expires, and they win low-scoring games. I think if you look back at that UMass score I gave you, it's 21-3, right? So it's 21-3. UMass is horrific. They did not win a game this year. In fact, they're talking about going back down to Division II because they've just not been able to be successful in Division I. But this is kind of an example of this team can't score against us, limit their possessions, and we'll just slowly eat the clock up so they can't score anything. So, yeah, and again, you look at those scores, they're all pretty low scoring. Keeping in mind their opponents. Now, here are the totals of their opponents for wins, which is this is when Western Michigan wins, this is how many points their opponents are scoring. 13, 14, 3, 0, 17, 21, 19, 21, 13. So I started looking that up. Basically, this season, if we look at this season, because I kind of went over those losses with you, if they can hold you below 23 points, they are 9-0 if they've held an opponent underneath 23 points. So basically, your number is going to be above 23. If Kennesaw State scores above 23, their Western Michigan's offense is not built to be able to keep up, and that's where Western Michigan losses have come, is for those points, for those teams that have been able to score multiple points against them. Again, even in those situations, though, Michigan State scored 23 on them. North Texas, who's a very explosive offense, scored 33, and the University of Illinois scored 38 against them. So, Central Michigan, in that loss, and when Central Michigan, excuse me, let me try it one more time. When Miami of Ohio beat Western Michigan the first time they met up, Miami of Ohio scored 26 points. So again, 23 or above, win, 23 or less is a loss. If we look at it nationally, as far as kind of where these teams rank nationally, especially since we're at the conclusion of the regular season going into a bowl game, we can go back and look at the season as a whole and kind of pull some data from that. So Western Michigan's overall offense, so the overall production on offense, they are ranked 107th in the country. They are ranked 129th of 136 teams passing the ball. Here it comes. They are ranked 23rd nationally running the ball. They are ranked 96th in scoring, meaning they're going to run the ball, low-scoring game, great defense. And you'll see that right now with their defensive stats. Overall, defensively, overall, nationally, they are ranked 15th in the country. They're the 18th best defense in the country of 136 teams against the pass, so 18th. Against the rush, they're ranked 33rd nationally. Their scoring defense, how many points they give up, they're ranked 14th. So, again, this is a team that is going to try to deflate the ball, run it down your throat, and play great defense. If we look at Kennesaw State, again, really the polar opposite. Offensively, overall, Kennesaw State is the 51st best offense in the country. They are the 51st best passing team in the country. They're the 69th best rushing team in the country and the 65th in overall scoring in the country. They are, on defense, though, they're 97th overall. Their passing is 75th. Their rushing defense is 106th. Their scoring defense is still hovering at 64th in the country, again, meaning that they limit touchdowns and give up field goals, a bend but don't break kind of style that they have going. I think that this team, Western Michigan, I know their special teams is also very good. Their field goal kicker is solid, and that's a whole nother issue that Kennesaw State's had all year long. So I don't love that aspect of this game, that if it is a close game and points are at a premium, that you have a field goal kicker that is well below consistent. Definitely gets rattled, definitely is not something that you can rely on. You never wanted to come down to a kick with this kicker. I've been saying that since the Wake Forest game, and I've not been wrong yet. I think it's a field goal game, and that's what really concerns me about this game. I think that I keep thinking about the score with this game, and I keep thinking, what do we expect? And if history tells us anything, it's that Kennesaw State will go out to a very good start, that the offense has time to prepare for this defense, to where Kennesaw State's defense does not have to rewrite the script based on what they did against Jack State. Jack State, again, very strong running team. So it's very similar. In what Kennesaw State, when they played Jack State, is they brought pressure. They did not allow Cam Cook to run on them. They made Jack State throw the ball, which they were not successful of. It's the same recipe here. If we're talking about Kennesaw State's defense against Western Michigan's offense, is you must load the box, you must play man-to-man and have your corners hold on there. You must stop the run. You've got to stop both the quarterback, Brock Lowry, and the running back, Jalen Buckley. That is their bread and butter. It's those two guys. So a lot of read option and just being prepared, making sure that you're disciplined with your lanes, making sure that you're bringing pressure from everywhere, making sure that you are forcing them into long yardage situations. This team does not want to be in 3rd and 8 or more. That's not how they're built. They want to be in 3rd and 2, So first down yardage is key. You cannot give up, 4 yards on first down. You must either go negative, that you create a stop and create negative yardage, or you limit them to 1 yard, right? You're just, if we go back to like the 70s, basically it was always that 3 yards in a cloud of dust. That's what we're looking at here, is that you just don't want to give them 3 yards every single time they touch the ball. Every single snap. If you can get below 3 yards per carry, then you will win this game. You will force them to pass. They cannot pass. They're not good at passing at all. They don't have explosive receivers. Your corners and secondary are much better at being prepared and have faced much better offenses this season, passing-wise, than what Western Michigan is bringing to the table. So you have an advantage there. Defensive line has got to be disciplined. Bring pressure, bring your blitzes. Linebackers are going to be key here. And when you make a tackle, the first tackle, they need to go down. We don't need extra yardage. We don't need broken tackles, things like that. So, and the other key to this game is simply that when you have offensive opportunities, you must score. Whether it's a touchdown or a field goal, you have to score against a very stingy defense. But they have not really seen a great deal of explosive offenses this year either. So I think you're going to bring things to the table that Western Michigan may not have seen. Do they have a secondary that can cover someone like Binyard? I don't think so. I don't. I think that he'll make his plays. I think that if you're basing this on an explosive defense or an aggressive defense, which is what Western Michigan is, then you got to use your running backs, screen passes, draws, things like that. Take advantage of an aggressive defense. You don't have to force the ball. And that's, again, this is Kennesaw State's first bowl game. So are we nervous? Are we excited? Do we have to play hero ball? I'm talking about Amari Odom. Because he's capable. He's capable of picking a team apart. He's capable of running the ball. He's capable of all those things. But he's also capable of pressing too much or trying to do too much himself. So that's where you got to be careful at. I think Kennesaw State wins 24-20. That's my prediction for this bowl game. Kennesaw State 24-20. I think they score 3 touchdowns. They kick a field goal. 24. I think that Western Michigan's goal to eat up clock will cost them in the end, because I think they'll give up explosive plays quickly. And but Western Michigan doesn't have a fast forward button, if you will. They don't go fast. So they're not going to be a team that can keep up if you can score points. So if we just look at the script that we've seen all year long in the first half with Kennesaw State, is that Kennesaw State puts up a good bit of points in the first and especially the second quarter this season. Again, their execution within 2 minutes before halftime is just a disaster. So we'll see what happens this time if they're on offense. But like I said, I think that if you can get up 2 scores, if you can make it a 2-possession game as Kennesaw State, I think Western Michigan is going to have a hard time coming back and beating you. So 24-20 is what I'm going to go with. Last week we talked about recruiting a little bit because National Signing Day was a week and a half ago on this Wednesday. I was thinking about doing a recruiting episode, but the thing is anymore with recruiting, especially high school recruiting, that's only one aspect of recruiting. The portal is really where it's at. Now, there's positives to take from this recruiting class. We've gone from being ranked 132nd in the nation previous year, which is one of the, again, if there's 136 teams and you're 132nd, it's not great. With 2 3-stars. That was last year. That was the class of 2024, 2025. The class of 25, 26 is much better. You're looking at the high school recruiting class being ranked 110th in the country. So you're up at least 22 spots. More importantly, depending on which recruiting site you've brought in 11 to 16 3-star prospects. This is great because if you go back a year, you brought in 2 3-star prospects. So it's having an impact. The success is having an impact. And it will continue to have an impact, especially go into the portal, and especially if you're able to show what you've done offensively, what you've done defensively. Coaching is important and consistency is important, which is why it's so important that Kennesaw State just re-signed Jerry Mack to I believe a 5-year deal worth $2 million per. I think it's a 5-year, $10 million contract, and and so the coaching is being consistent. Now it just becomes the portal time because this conversation about recruiting changes if Amari Odom goes into the portal, right? Washington has already gone into the portal. He has made it clear that he wants to go into the portal. I do not know what his status is for this game, if he'll be playing corner for us against Western Michigan or not. Luckily, this is not a sophisticated passing attack, so we won't get beat in the air this week. If we lose, it'll be because we gave up so much on the ground. So we will see kind of how that all shakes out once the portal gets here. My point of all of this is just simply to say is that I don't think it's a great idea to have a conversation about recruiting right now because until we finish the portal up, we really don't know what we have. We don't know the comings and goings. We know that there are 19 players coming in that are going to be freshmen this year at Kennesaw State. Of those 19, anywhere from 11 to 16 are 3-star prospects. That's outstanding. That's a great start. Now let's see what happens with the portal. Let's see who stays. Let's see who goes. The coaching staff appears to remain the same going into next season, which is great. So you can kind of build on what you've already laid the groundwork on. The thing I like about this recruiting class specifically, though, which isn't brought up in rankings or anything like that, is a lot of our players are coming from this region. So you're looking at a lot of players from West Georgia. You're looking at a lot of players from Eastern Alabama, Southern Tennessee. Love that. That's exactly why Kennesaw State has the potential to do something special because they are in such a talent-rich environment in the state of Georgia with recruits. So I'll come on and we'll do that together as we start kind of getting ready for postseason talk. We'll do a whole recruiting breakdown. We've got time to do that. But I think it's important to kind of show the bigger picture of everything. In the craziest news of the week, the Michigan coach, Sherman Moore, I think is his name, he had a heck of a Wednesday. Now, I made a joke to a colleague the other day that anytime that you're having a bad day, I want you to remember the University of Michigan's head coach, who on Wednesday morning, his alarm went off, he got ready for work. And in that moment, he knew he was the head coach of one of the best programs in the country, easily top 4, top 5. Michigan is a terrific program. Possibly the only 2 programs that are better than the Michigan job are the Georgia job currently and the Ohio State job, probably the Alabama job, but that's about it. He wakes up, he's getting paid $6 million for every year that he works. He has a contract, a $30 million contract over 5 years, making $6 per year. That's how his day started. He got to work. Around noon, he was fired. Why was he fired? Well, unfortunately for him, he was fired for cause. And for those of you who don't know, for cause means that the university doesn't owe you a thing. They don't have to pay you a severance package. They don't have to pay a buyout. You're just fired. Whatever we gave you is yours, but you don't get anything else. So the reason he was fired for cause is that his the head coach's executive assistant, unfortunately, was a young lady who he was having extramarital affairs with. Um, it gets worse. The young lady who he was having extramarital affairs with um, became pregnant. Now, keep in mind that Coach Moore is married with three small children. The paramour, if you will, got pregnant. He had to pay for the termination of that pregnancy. So he got fired. He went home. News is breaking all over the place. The wife is there waiting for him. That doesn't go well. Doesn't go well at all. At the end of that argument, he decides it'd be a good idea to go back over to his executive assistant, who, by the way, when she signed her contract, she was making $55,000 a year, and then a year later she was making $90,000. That's weird. Wonder what happened. He goes over to young lady's house, threatens to harm her, threatens to harm himself. This is after he breaks into the house. Gets arrested. Yeah. Spends the night in jail, spends a couple days in jail. So basically, he woke up as the head coach of Michigan. He went to bed in a jail cell. He was arraigned. He was released on bond. What's the first move? He calls an OnlyFans model or texts the OnlyFans model to tell her to make sure she's not sharing information with the newspapers or the press. This person has lost their mind, and they have lost everything. Why? Well, they just couldn't be happy. They just couldn't be happy with the things that they had in their life, the family, the marriage. I'm not in that household. I don't know what it's like, but I know they weren't happy. And they decided to completely destroy their life. And that's what he accomplished. He completely destroyed his life. Hopefully he made some good investments the last 2 years with the money that he was making, and so that that he will be, if used correctly and invested correctly, he'll be fine financially going forward. It's going to be real hard to hire him as a coach anytime soon. Most likely, this will lead to a divorce, and whatever money he had saved up, his wife will have at least half of that, and probably the children, and he'll be responsible for supporting her through alimony and child support, is probably how this all goes. So yeah, way to ruin your life. That's impressive for an extramarital activity. I just don't get it sometimes, you know. It's one of those things that it reminds me a lot of times that if you're unhappy, just change. If you're not happy with how things are going, if you're not happy with a relationship or a job or anything like that, there's other opportunities out there. You can carry yourself in a more decent way, right? If you are not fulfilled in your job or your marriage or relationship or anything like that, then you have an option. You can continue to go down that path and to be unhappy, or you have an option to change. Is the change part of this hard? Absolutely it is. It's very hard. It's ugly. Yeah, it's uncomfortable. But you don't have to have extramarital affairs. You know, you can take the decent path and recognize that things didn't work out how you wanted. And that's unfortunate. But you can give yourself and the others opportunities to move on with their lives in a respectful and decent way. That is a path. I was talking to someone that I hold very dearly, and it was almost like what she had said was, it's almost like if you could just shake their hand and be like, we tried, it didn't work out, but I wish you the best of luck. And you go your own way. If it's a relationship that you're struggling with, then is it ever going to go that way and be that respectful? Probably not. But boy, wouldn't that be something, right? Wouldn't that be something just to be like, it just didn't work out. Let's at least have the opportunity to go our own way and have things work out. You know, if a job doesn't work out, you have the option to put your notice in, to seek other employment, to find something else that better fits where your talents are and your interests are. And you simply, well, they always say, don't burn bridges. You simply respectfully resign, give them time back to fulfill your responsibilities, don't burn bridges, and go on to your next adventure. The relationships are the same way. They're more emotional, without question, but it can be handled in decency, and this person chose not to do that. And, the consequence is a changed life in a very short period of time. And those sudden changes like that there is no guidance for that. Even if you handled things as I was describing in a decent way, no one prepares you for the emotional toll that takes. It's just it's always going to be hard. It's always hard, right? But this is an example of making something that's hard and making it terrible. As far as how your children will see you, as with being in the public eye like that, how that information will be out there forever, and just how you carried yourself. And it's just, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And I wish nothing poor on anybody. But, there's this other part of me that's like, oh, you kind of do it to yourself a little bit, don't you, with your choices that you make? So, I don't know. It's just a crazy story and a crazy Wednesday hearing these stories. I just went way off topic. I apologize. So let's wrap this up then, because I'm just rambling now. Kennesaw State, 24-20 over Western Michigan is my call. Kennesaw State scores early, gets up by a couple possessions, holds on in the end, and allows Western Michigan to run the ball, eat the clock up, but not score enough points to lead to defeat. We will recap this game on Saturday, most likely, of next week. If I can do something on Friday afternoon, I will, but probably Saturday is a safer bet, because then we can talk about the playoffs, because the Kennesaw State season will conclude. So we can kind of look back. You already know my feelings. It's just been amazing. Just amazing. So, go Owls. Please like and subscribe. Please give us a 5-star review. Any support is greatly appreciated. Remember your self-worth. Remember that not only do you follow a program that has done so much with so low expectations, projected to be one of the worst teams in the country, going to win a conference championship and going to a bowl game against another conference champion is amazing. I say that because don't forget about you. Don't forget about what you are, and that you are enough, and you are worth it, and you are a great person, and you are capable of doing wonderful things with your life. And don't let anybody take that away from you. And if you're not happy with things and you look around, then change it. Be brave enough, be courageous enough to change it, but also handle it in a respectful manner. And that'll benefit you in time. You'll be able to look back and know how you handled things and have more self-respect for yourself in time. And that's something that money cannot buy. So take care, y'all. Please like and subscribe, as I said. Comment. I'll do my best to reply to those things. And I'll talk to you in a week. Have a great week, guys. Stay warm out there. Bye.